We're excited on Facebook Live, our very first Facebook Live event. We're going to wait just a few seconds and let some of you guys jump on here. If y'all are on and you're watching, just drop a comment right there in the chat if you don't mind. We're excited to see y'all. Let's see who all's out. There we are. Oh, we got 4 people watching so far. Welcome.
Is that including us?
No, it's not including us. Okay, let me grab. Hannah's going to jump in with us. There we
Right.
go.
Oh, there she is.
Yay.
What's up, Hannah?
Hey.
Hey,
Hey,
Hannah.
how are you guys doing?
Long time no see.
I know.
Yay.
What's up, Miss Steph? How's it going?
Oh, there's Abby. Hey, Abby.
Hey, Coach William.
Coach.
Welcome.
What's up, Coach Abby?
We got coaches joining us. We got parents and students. It's going to be fun. There's Julia.
Miss Julia.
Hey, Julia.
Oh, okay.
What's up?
What's up, Coach T?
I love it. All right. We're going to get rolling. I'm going to go ahead since we've got 3 wonderful coaches on tonight that are going to be sharing their heart and their passion for the Lord, for CAK, for faith and leadership. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this right on. We're so glad that all of you are jumping on. Thank y'all for making comments. Keep those up. You can fly some hearts and likes as I introduce these coaches to you all. My name is Missy Standifer, and I am the Director of Community Outreach and Special Events, and we want to welcome you to our very first of many Facebook Lives. Tonight, we are going to feature one of our facets of CAK student life, and that's athletics. And we're going to highlight faith and leadership and how that plays out in the lives of our coaches, our teams, our athletes, and our students as a whole. So we've got a series of these Facebook Lives that are going to be rolling throughout the summer, and they're going to focus on the CAK difference. And our coaches tonight are here. They're living proof that sports and athletics, they're not just commonplace at CAK. We're going to, Travis is going to open us up in just a minute and share a little bit about that. But let me introduce these coaches to you all. Want to just tell you who all is on our Facebook Live event tonight and joining us. We've got Travis Mazingo. He is a history teacher and football coach. He's beginning his 5th year at CAK, his 20th year overall in teaching and coaching. Okay, the man doesn't look like he could be anywhere near done anything for 20 solid years.
Yeah,
but,
right.
He has 1 son at CAK, a rising 8th grader, and 2 daughters who are CAK alumni. So y'all can fly some hearts. Somebody just said, oh, James Logan, best coach ever. There you go. you got some fans. Next, we have Hannah Seaver. She is approaching her 3rd year at CAK. She's a middle school art teacher as well. Going into her 6th year of coaching softball. She coached at Central High for 2 years, South Doyle High for 2 years, and she's going into her 2nd year of coaching in the middle and high school softball here at CAK. She went to Carson Newman, graduated from, she's a Tusculum alum. Her undergraduate degree is in art, and her master's degree is in secondary ed. So there you are. She has no children as of yet, but I love that she said she intends on sending all of her future kids to CAK. So y'all give a big shout out to Coach Seaver. There you go. And then last of all, tonight we've got James Logan. He is a CAK alum. What a story he has to tell. He has been coaching for 11 years, coaching football at CAK for 11 years, 5 years as the head football coach for the middle school team. But one of the reasons we wanted Coach Logan to join us is he has really had experience in a lot of different sports when it comes to CAK life. He's been an assistant varsity wrestling coach, assistant boys varsity soccer coach, head soccer coach in the middle school, assistant strength training coach, and loves to work with any athletes from any sport who wish to be stronger. So we have a wonderful panel tonight. Welcome, you guys. Glad
Good to be here.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. We're going to kick this Facebook Live event off tonight. And I want to tell you, just remind you all again that are watching, this is a live event. So this is like the equivalent of all of us being in a living room together. We're hanging out, we're talking, we're asking questions, we're sharing stories. And so you all, the viewers, you all are a part of that. And so maybe as one of the coaches shares a story and you think, man, that really resonates with my child's experience at CAK as an athlete, share that in the chat. Or if they share something and you're thinking, I've got a question about that, ask that question in the chat. That's what it's all about. It's just a dialogue between our panelists and between you all tonight. All right, so we're going to kick it off, and I'm going to kick this over to you, Travis. First question tonight with our Facebook Live Athletics, Faith, and Leadership webinar. Why is athletics an important part of the overall program at CAK?
Well, here's what I was thinking. I was, just kind of as we were preparing just to get together tonight, I kind of look at, just the whole discussion itself, not just as a coach necessarily or a teacher, but also as a parent of athletes and obviously a parent who wants the best for my children. And I don't want a house full of athletes and that don't have character. And at the same time, I don't want a house full of, guys who can't interact and carry on conversations. And so when I begin to look at the whole faith and how it rolls into leadership and how athletics can help build those two things, like I said, I look at it from the viewpoint of a parent as well as a coach and a teacher. And so I think when you look specifically at CAK, probably the biggest thing, and again, being in the hallways there for going on 5 years, it's been good to see. So basically, here's my background with CAK. All those kids who were freshmen, that was my first year there. So I've seen an entire group of kids kind of come through and matriculate from freshman year to senior year. And so kind of being able to observe that, I think one of the best things about CAK that it brings to the table is just the fact that you're going to have opportunities for your students, your children to get involved in athletics. And it's everything that I feel like in our coaching staff in the athletic department, and I know James can speak to the middle school and Hannah could also speak to the female athletes, but the varsity athletics, all of our coaches, they don't coach a sport. That's what they tell you. They coach kids, they coach athletes, they coach young men and young women. And so for me, I look at it, I'm like, well, in any given classroom that I've got, I mean, we've got nearly 75% of our kids are going to be, involved in athletics, at least one of the team sports that we have. So, 3 out of 4 students are going to be considered student athletes, and a good number of those are going to be multi-sport athletes. And I think as the kids, and then, for us and our family, when we chose CAK, it was the idea that we want a close-knit community. We want our children to be involved in athletics because my wife and I both, have been involved with that in athletics our whole lives, and we've seen the benefits and the impact that coaches have had on our lives, and we want to use that same, or our children have those, that same exposure. And so you start looking at the opportunities to play athletics and to build those leadership qualities, and then you start seeing the close-knit community of CAK, the Warrior Athletic Club, and then you start looking at the multi-sport athletes and kind of how they roll together. So you've got this community that kind of starts off as individuals. It begins to roll together. And so some of these teammates that my son and daughters have had, they see them in their classrooms and they see them again in the locker room. They see them on the court or on the field. And so it's been one of those opportunities for me, like I said, as a parent and as a coach, to really see the full development of my child, not just as an athlete, which they've developed and, they've all played multiple sports at CAK, but just how that has rolled into, it builds into their academics, it builds into their leadership qualities, and just kind of that as a parent, the well-rounded, young person that I want to send out into the world.
Hmm. That's good. Anybody else? James, you want to add anything to that?
No, I mean, I think that's what's so important about having these kids, not just for me as a teacher in the classroom, but also on the field as well. You know, we get to not only model our faith for them in the classroom and put into practice in the classroom what it is that we're saying to them on the field, and then vice versa. Like, there's just so much synergy that we can have as teachers and coaches, where these kids can learn who we are as people, not just what we do each day as Mr. Logan, sixth grade Bible teacher. Then I get to take that out onto the field as well and continue that relationship. So it's just really special. It's why I love teaching sixth grade. I get to have these kids, you know, for 6 more years after that as they go on to high school and whatnot. So it's cool.
And Hannah, how about you? How do you integrate faith with athletics? Like, not just on the field, but off the field as well?
Did you say Hannah?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Well, you know, and we try to in a lot of ways, but it's like I tell my girls all the time, our jerseys say CAK, and that C, of course, stands for Christian. And ultimately, that's really what this is all about. And we try to make it the center of everything that we do. So it's not just the obvious things. I mean, of course, we're going to pray before games. We're going to pray after games. But it becomes a lifestyle. It's how we're acting in the classroom. It's how we're behaving in the cafeteria. It's how we're treating our parents, because ultimately this is about raising up a new generation of leaders and warriors. And I think as a coach, if you can like look back at your season and say, hey, we used our sport to facilitate that, then that's greater than any win or title that you can achieve.
Oh, wow. And so going back to you, Travis, then in what ways does athletics help develop leadership skills for life? I know you guys are all kind of saying that, but how can you take a sport in a child's life and build in leadership characteristics that are going to be with them for years and years to come, long after that sport is over?
Yeah, and that's a good question. And I think if for me as a dad or for me as a coach, if all I want is my son or daughter to walk away with, you know, a championship or a title or a scholarship, and I'm really missing a big part of what athletics can offer my children. And so for me, I think with a team sport especially, it's easy. I think the number one thing that it does, it builds accountability, and just the idea that my son or daughter is going to have to be held accountable, number one, by their coaches, but then also by their teammates. And it's kind of, you know, that the old cliche that, you know, you've got to be able to walk your talk, and you've got to be able to back up what you say. And I know that every job I've ever, you know, from the time I was 15 to today, every job I've ever had, there's a level of accountability that's there, whether it be from my employer or from my coworkers or those who work for me. And so I think that sports and athletics, it builds the first leadership qualities. It's the idea that it builds that accountability. I think there's the other thing is that it builds a responsibility, and it really, you ask a student athlete to accept responsibility, and not just necessarily for the outcome or, you know, for a particular, you know, sport or skill set, but just the idea that I'm responsible to something greater than just my own individual self. And that even goes for, you know, a sport like, you know, like wrestling that looks to be an individual sport, or track and field. You say, well, that's an individual sport. And the reality of it is it's those, especially at the high school level, those are rolled into team, you know, to a team sport and team scoring and everything like that. So I think when you start looking at the accountability, you start looking at the responsibility, and in all honesty, it's in a low risk environment. You know, let's be honest. High school athletics isn't, you know, the be all end all. You know, very, very few, you know, things are going to be permanently lost, you know, in that setting. So it's almost like a, you know, a laboratory of sorts where you can build this accountability and this, you know, encouraging your student athlete to accept responsibility for what's going on, you know, in their locker room, on the field, and, you know, in the classroom, and so much of it, you know, goes beyond that. So like I said, I think it's a low risk environment as far as that goes. And it's that big payoff too, beyond that.
Mm.
Well, and for me, like I think about the fact that, like, as Christians, we're called to do the best we can. Like, we don't have to choose. Like, I think all the time about my kids, like my athletes. I don't want them ever to have to choose. Well, do I either have to be a tough, hard-nosed, gritty athlete, or do I have to be a person of faith? Like, this isn't an either or thing; it's a both and thing. Like, I want my athletes to be both hard-nosed, gritty, tough kids and people who love Jesus with all their heart.
Yeah.
And that doesn't just show itself, on the field, but that's what they're going to take into life as well. I mean, we want people who are going to be both great, faith-based people, but also successful in their careers or successful with their families or whatever the case may be. Like, that's what I love about being able to teach at CAK and coach at CAK, is that this is a both and thing, not an either or type thing.
Hannah, I see you shaking your head when James and Travis are talking. Do you want to add anything?
No, I mean, I absolutely agree. It's such a unique thing that I think really sets our athletic department apart, is that, we're not just focused on having excellent athletics, which of course that's something you want, but it's all the great things that come with it, because ultimately life is just so much bigger than championships and being good at sports. It's the life skills that you're going to take on with you from those sports and from those teams, the friendships, the relationships. And ultimately, I think those things really help propel you further on in life.
Hey, so along that note, and this was not one of the questions that I asked you all to prepare for, but I want you to be thinking, and we're going to circle back to this in just a few minutes. I want y'all to be thinking about a coach in your own lives. As you all were growing up, playing a sport, think about a memory of a coach that impacted your life. You're grown people, you've professionals, you've got your own jobs now. But what was that like? Like, what kind of an impact did that have on you? Kind of maybe tell us that story, and what kind of an impact did that have on you? So we're going to circle back to that unless somebody right away goes, I've got a story. Anybody?
I don't hesitate. It's Bill Young. I played for a man named Bill Young whenever I was a high schooler at CAK. And as you sit there and talk about like memories, I can't name a specific instance, but I remember how he made me feel. Like, he made me feel important. He made me feel loved. He made me feel valued. And that is what I want to do as a coach. Like, if I can make sure that when a player leaves my program and goes up to Coach Mo's, varsity program, high school, like, they need to feel loved and valued. And if I'm not doing that, then I'm not doing my job. Wins, losses, championships aside, if I don't let, Coach Mozingo has a son who's going to be an 8th grader on my team next year. If Maddox Mozingo doesn't feel loved and valued by me and my staff, then who cares about wins and losses? We haven't done our job. And so that's what Bill Young did for me.
It's good. What else? Anybody else have a story? We can always circle back to this.
Well, I mean, and like James said, I don't even have to really think for more than a second. My college football coach is a fellow named Terry Price, and he just passed away back in November. And so I went to a small private college in Wisconsin, and had an opportunity to play some college football there with some real great. I mean, the Lord really worked some things out, and I was able to play with some of my high school teammates, and we were able to play, college football together. It's a great opportunity for me. But when I showed up, I go to this like I said, Division III, NCAA Division III, small private college. And it was in Wisconsin, and I was from Florida, and I was probably what most what I would describe as a coach and teacher now. I was pretty rough around the edges, and when I got there, and I wasn't ready for that particular environment, the expectations and the standards and that sort of thing. And I remember distinctly Coach Price, from day one, and it had nothing to do with who I was as a football player, but everything about who I was as a young man. And Coach Price, he met me where I was. He instantly recognized that here's a fella who needs a little bit of structure in his life, needs some direction in his life, who's needs to be here. And like I said, he met me where I was. He didn't say, hey, here's the standard, and if you can't meet it today, then you just need to clean out your locker. He said, we're going to work on this, and we're going to build towards it. And I remember 3 years later, looking at him, and he's you can tell when a coach is proud of you. And just that feeling of knowing that, man, he didn't give up on me. He didn't say, well, there's Travis, and man, this guy, he's a knucklehead. He's 20 years old, and can't his head isn't screwed on very tight. It wasn't anything like that. It was, hey, we're gonna work towards this, and I'm gonna partner with you, Travis, and we're gonna we're gonna get you where you need to be. And I wasn't the only one. I mean, and Coach Price coached for decades. And you could bring multiple players, and they'd tell you the exact same thing, that he met me where I was. And that's one of the things that, being in coaching, going into my 20th year, I've always tried to look at the athletes and understand that, man, they're bringing all sorts of just struggles, whether it's academics, socially, emotionally, issues at home with siblings. They're bringing so much with them. And so every kid doesn't get treated the exact same. You can't do that. My own children, I don't treat them the same way. I don't raise them the same way. And so I think that's a big thing that impacted me and how I treat my players, that, what, they're going to show up, and some of them are going to have everything together, and they're going to, on the first day, they're going to be, in proper uniform, and everything's going to be perfect. And I'm going to have some of them I'm going to have to, get after every single day. And eventually they get it. But for me, Coach Price was that guy. He's like, okay, we'll work on this. And that's, like I said, that's something I've tried to bring along into my coaching.
Wow. How about you, Hannah? Any coach that just sticks out in your mind and has made
Definitely. So, well, Coach Mo talks about the kid that you're going to have to spend a little extra time with and work on those things with. That was me. The coach that comes to mind for me was my college coach at Carson Newman, which was Vicky Kizzie Hollifield. And the woman just had all the accolade, all the reason in the world to be just arrogant and pompous, and she checked all the boxes, but she met me where I was at. She said, hey, I don't have a ton to offer you right here, but I want you on my team, and I want you to be a part of this. And man, I was a knucklehead, but she took such good care of me. And when she talked to me, it was never about, yes, we wanted to win, and it was about softball at times, but when she'd pull me aside at practice, she'd ask me, how's your heart doing? How's mom and dad? How's your family? And to have a coach that cares so much, just as much about a personal relationship and about loving on you and making sure that you know that, and in keeping you in line, that means more to me than wins any day, and that's something I've always tried to model my coaching style after. But Coach Hollifield was good as they come, hard-nosed, put some thick skin on me, but she hung in there with me for as long as I wanted to be around. And then even when I actually quit after being injured my first year, she still said to me, anytime you need anything, I'm here for you. It wasn't just about softball. It was about taking care of her players. So that for me is definitely who sticks out.
Wow. Okay, you guys, I need to get some tissues on this Facebook Live. Y'all are getting me teary-eyed. I found a great quote that really sums up this whole thing that you guys are talking about, influence. And it was by John Wooden, the UCLA basketball coach. He said, a good coach can change a game, but a great coach can change a life. And that's really what you guys are talking about. That's what you're doing. You can read that in the comments over here, that there are parent after parent is just talking about the difference that you guys are making, and that coaches just like you at CAK are making in the lives of our students. And so, and talking about making a difference, a lot of kids, like you said, are knuckleheads, and you probably can spot one just like that. It takes one to know one, right? So we all that's right. And so, but
I always say those are my people. I recognize them. I know exactly what they look like.
That's your tribe. That's your tribe.
Yeah, that's my tribe. Exactly.
There you go. But how do you guys think? We're talking now. We talked about how CAK can prepare kids leadership-wise, But what about college? Like, you know, I don't know how many kids are truly prepared for being completely on their own, but how do y'all think at CAK when it comes to sports and athletics, how do we prepare kids in a lot of ways for the skills that they're going to need in college? And Travis, I'm gonna throw that one over to you.
Well, here's a couple different angles, I guess, to look at it, Missy. And the first one's from an academic standpoint. Like I said, you mentioned it earlier in the introduction. I've got two girls. One graduated, I guess technically Friday was her last day as a senior. And my other one, she graduated a few years ago, and she attends Lee University over in Cleveland. And so from an academic standpoint, I look at them and the opportunities that they have, and you know, have conversations with some of my other parental friends down in Georgia, where I was, 15 years before this, and really, I really appreciate just the difference that CAK makes from an academic standpoint, just in the preparation side of it. Our school counselors, Miss Stauffer, Miss Kilburn, and just, I mean, they work incredibly hard towards that, for kids that have different goals and different aspirations as far as, college and dreams and that sort of thing. I think the other side of it is from an athletic standpoint. Like I said, with football, football, it's just a statistics thing as much as anything else. So you've got a better chance of earning a football scholarship than another scholarship in another sport, just because there's so many teams and so many different levels. And so from a football standpoint, I'd like to think in the statistics that are out there, we do a pretty good job of promoting our athletes that have desire to go on to play college football specifically. I can speak to that. We do a really good job of giving those guys the opportunities that they're equivalent to. There's a lot of recruiting and that sort of thing nowadays. It's an industry. It's not necessarily like it was a few decades ago, and so there's a lot more that goes into it than just hey, I want to go play football. There's a lot of work, and there's a lot of competition, and I think that's what athletes nowadays realize. There's a limited number of scholarships, and whatever the given sport is, and there's multiple athletes competing for a limited number of scholarships, and so I think from a academic standpoint, CAK prepares kids for school. I think from an athletic standpoint, like I said, football, I mean, you can look at our other sports as well. Come to a signing day, and it's track and field, it's swimming, it's girls basketball, it's the baseball fellas. I mean, there's so many different athletes that our kids are afforded the opportunity to play college athletics because the coaching staffs that exist at CAK, and whether it's through their coaching network or whether it's just the opportunities that CAK provides for them. So I think from just a preparation standpoint, that's one of the big things that we offer. And people, there's different lines of thinking on that too, Missy, and as far as like, well, do you want to be a big fish in a small pond, or do you want to go be on a bigger stage? Right. And so there's a lot of back and forth, and there's different, like I said, it's philosophical, maybe a little bit, maybe it's a little bit theory, but at the end of the day, and this kind of circles all the way back around to how we started. I mean, if the only thing I'm looking for my son or my daughters is, okay, I need them to sign a college, a national letter of intent on signing day, and there's so much else I'm missing. I'm missing 90% of really what this whole idea of athletics and leadership and academics is all about.
And James, I mean, you kind of lived to tell the tale. Yeah. You are
by the hair on my chinny chin. Yes,
yeah. That's right.
Yeah. By the quarantine breath.
Yeah. So tell us when you went to college. What was that? I mean, did you feel prepared? Kind of what were some things you learned from athletics?
As Mo was speaking, the word I just kept hearing in my head was standard. CAK requires our student athletes to work to a standard. And that standard is going to serve them well through the rest of their life. We just had Spencer Mann, who graduated 2 years ago, who just he's a Marine now. I mean, that is a standard that he has chosen to live by, through his life. And that standard is going to serve him well after going through Coach Farr's baseball program. I mean, and we could go through numerous kids who are now serving in their community. I mean, one of my first kids, Mitchell Kalinsky, he's got his own company now. He's doing construction work. And I'm thinking, how am I old enough to have kids who own their own companies now? He is living to a standard now. He's working to a standard where every single day, he is people working for him. Like, that's what CAKA forces you to do. And if you just go to college to be a student, the standard that you were brought up with at CAK is going to serve yourself well. I mean, I can think about teachers I had like Lisa Syard and Sarah Baker who refused to let me fall beneath a standard. Like, if I ever began to slip, they would grab me and pull me back up to where it is that they knew I could be. And that's what CAK can do for you. That's what CAK will do for you if you will allow it to. And so, yeah, that's what I hear Coach Mo saying. I keep hearing the word standard. Like, there is a standard at CAK, and that's the expectation that we have, not only as coaches, but also as just people who are invested in the lives of these kids. I mean, I love my kids, and I want them to be as successful as they possibly can, whatever they choose to do.
And it's really a hand in glove. You know, it's not just on the field, completely separate. I mean, everybody works together as a community inside the classroom, outside the classroom, in on the field, off the field, to help raise this group of kids who are going to grow up to be young men and women to impact the world for Jesus in whatever they do. And I love that the passion and the commitment to the spiritual lives of our kids, it's not lost on us as parents and what you all do. Well, Hannah, I'm going to throw the next question to you. How can a student who's involved in athletics, how can they be involved in athletics if they've never played the sport before or don't have the talent to start? So maybe there are people who are watching and they're thinking, well, this is great. I happen to jump on here, but I don't really have an athlete. But I have a kid that would like to. What would you say to them?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, for me, I think one of the coolest things that CAK offers is that there's so many opportunities for these students to get involved in something. And like you and James had just said, there's a community that's going to support them regardless of what they decide to do. So that's the first thing. But then athletics is one of those options. And I think for me, like, it's more than just a particular skill set. You know, yes, we want to win and be competitive, and we want to develop our skills and become better at a certain sport. But you're also, when you sign on to that team, you're going to join a family. You're going to join a community. You are going to develop these life skills that we keep talking about that are going to eventually propel you further on in life. So I think it's a lot deeper than just wanting to be the MVP on the team or be a starter or whatever. Everyone plays a role. And if you can take something from your team, if you can take something from the sport you play, I think you come out a winner that way. And we've got an entire coaching staff waiting with open arms to help facilitate that process. So I say go for it. I think it's worth the risk.
Yeah, and Coach Mo has a great saying. He says it to me at least once a year. That's why you got coach in front of your name, right? Yeah. If there's a kid that has never played whatever sport it is, and they just say, you know what, that looks like fun, I want to give it a try.
Yeah.
Come on. That's why we've got coach in front of our name. We will do everything we can to teach your student the fundamentals of our sports, to teach them how to play the game, and to have fun doing it. You know, that's what sports really is all about, to develop these kids into young adults. But let's have some fun while we're doing it too.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think the one thing too that CAK, whether it's in the fall or the winter or in the spring, every sport for both guys and girls, there's no cut sports. And by that, it just means that there's not it's unlimited. You know, it's football in the fall. You know, it's the wrestling is a no cut sport for guys, and so and the girls have theirs. You know, their no cut sports with track and field and that sort of thing. So there's really there's no minimum athleticism requirement that needs to be met. And if I was the father of children who weren't really interested in athletics, the Mazingos would find a no-cut sport and we would be a part of it. Just because I believe that much in the opportunities that athletics give a young person to grow. And I mean, you're never going to get stronger if you don't stretch and you know, stretch yourself a little bit. And James, you know, his strength and conditioning background, he'd tell you that if you don't ever put a little bit extra weight on the bar, you're never going to improve your strength. And if you don't ever stretch yourself and get out of your comfort zone, you're really never going to grow, like coming on Facebook Live or whatever. Right. So for for me, I look at these no cut sports that are every season for both, both guys and girls. And it's like, man, let's get them involved. There's no reason. My daughter who just graduated, she played 3 sports. My son, he plays 3 sports. Is he the best at them? Nope, he's not the best at them. But I want him staying busy. I want him exhausted when he comes home at night and going to sleep. And so that's a parenting thing. That's a philosophical thing. Just our philosophy on and raising our children. But that's just the way we like it. And for me, I look at it and I'm like, okay, I want my son. He doesn't know a thing about lacrosse, but he thinks he wants to play it, and yeah, it'll keep him busy. But I talked to the lacrosse coach. I'm like, I want that guy. I want him influencing my son. I want Coach Abby influencing my daughter. I look at these coaches as they're the influencer. In some cases, more so than I am. And so the more I push them into athletics and the opportunities in those locker rooms and on those courts and fields, it's just one more opportunity for them to develop. And so, like I said, I love the idea of a no-cut sport, but you don't have to, to be, a great, fill in the blank athlete at some particular skill in order to be on a team.
Amen. I like the part about they go to bed exhausted. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, I do though. I do. As a parent, I fully believe in not exhausting your kids, but I believe in your kids having a full plate, a full life, and I think it keeps them, what is it, idle hands or the devil's workshop. I mean, I want them to be busy and active and engaged. Well, I think this quote kind of sums up what you guys are saying. I love this. We put this up in our house. It says, in sports, as in life, you win or you learn. And I always say that to our kids when they lose or their team loses and they feel like, I'm like, no. Okay, you won. What'd you do well? What can you do? You lost. What did you learn? Because you don't learn anything from having win after win after win. You learn from the trenches and you learn on the mountains as well. So, all right. Last question here. How does a student balance athletics with academics? Because that is not always easy. CAK is a college preparatory school. And so our academics are strong. How do you do that? I'm going to kind of throw that out, and whoever wants to jump in, go ahead.
Well, like I know, my kids know that school comes first. I always tell them that, if 90% of my salary comes from teaching, then 90% of their job comes from being a student. And the rest of it is the fun part. That's the playing sports or whatever it is, the musical theater, whatever their extracurriculars are. But there's a lot of ways around this. We have study halls, before games. I know, hey, game day is a late night, and so we're going to have study halls. I know that I'm not the only middle school sport that does that. I've seen cheerleading, I've seen basketball, boys and girls all have study halls before their games. But it's the camaraderie with the teachers. We've got the great relationship in the middle school. I don't want to speak to the high school. Coach Mo can do that, but I know in the middle school, it is constant communication. Hey, hey James, so and so is slipping, with his science work. Can you talk to him and help him realize, hey, this is his number one priority, and we can move all of these things around. But at the end of the day, their foundation is we got to be a student first. And then whatever their extracurricular is, that's what comes after that.
Yeah, definitely. And just kind of building off what James said, I think the term that we use a lot at CAK is student athlete. And I think the reason why we use that title so much is because we do put, the student part first. That is what is our priority. And then excellence in athletics is going to come after. And like he was talking about at the middle school, there's a certain amount of accountability that we have. With my team, we have team study hall before every game. And then we also have grade reports. Every week they have to have them looked at by their teachers. They have to say, hey, they've not been terrible in the classroom this week and they are academically eligible to play. So I think as long as it is a hard balance, but I think as long as you have your priorities straight and you understand that first we have to be a student, I think you can strike that balance, but you have to be able to utilize all of those resources that CAK really does an awesome job of providing all our students with.
Yeah. And I think, so from the high school standpoint, and this is from my background before I came to CAK, and it was pretty diverse. I was at some big public schools down in Georgia where academics wasn't necessarily the push of certain parents, and it was an afterthought. So a lot of my athletes, a lot of my players, they kind of on their own, and then you come to a nice, little kind of situation and scenario like CAK where the parents on the whole are pretty involved and their expectations for academics are pretty high. And so one thing that I brought with me is I'm big on making sure that my players are interacting with their teachers and that I'm interacting with them, and they know that. I could show you my text messages this morning, and again, it's Monday morning, and it's like, hey, talking to one fellow, I'm like, hey, don't forget Spanish midnight tonight. You've got your review packet 3 is due. Make sure we get that done. I go to the next guy, and I'm like, his geometry is where he's struggling. I go to the next guy, and it's right on down the line. And so my goal is to make sure that I build a relationship with those high school teachers so that they know that, hey, if there's a problem, that we need to address it. I don't want to be reactionary all the time. So we really try to get in front of it. And it's more than just academics that I'm asking the high school teachers for. I tell them I want a couple of different things from you. I want to know about my athlete, obviously his scores, what's his grade in your class, but then I also want to know what's the quality of his workmanship, what kind of work is he turning in? Is it lower quality? Can he improve in that? And the third thing is, what's his attitude like in your class? And so, I ask them those 3 things, and I send out this crazy spreadsheet, and I'm sure the high school teachers, they probably roll their eyes when they see one more, all staff email from Coach Mo. But I really want to give them the opportunity, and I don't ever want to sit in a teachers meeting and they say, well, so-and-so, and they list off a couple of football players, and it's like, he's this, and this. And it's like, well, I want to give you the opportunity and open that, that dialogue so that if there's a football player that needs a little bit extra encouragement, they know that they don't hesitate to come find me in the cafeteria or find me in the hallway or reply to my weekly emails that say, hey, fill in the blank, Maddox Mazingo, he's getting decent scores, but his attitude's terrible. Okay, that's we can work on that. Or, hey, his workmanship just isn't quite what I expect it to be. And so I've tried to, since I came to CAK, I really tried to build that rapport with our teachers. And I found this, and I tell our players that if I'll build that rapport with them and they'll do the same, the teachers at CAK, they make it harder to fail than the past. I mean, they will bend over backwards to help a student athlete out. And I tell my guys, they only do that. And teachers are human beings. And when they see your name come up on a paper or they see your name in the grade book, they instantly have an image of you and kind of how they perceive you. And if you've sat in their class and you've been respectful and you've done the things you need to, you have a chance at least at success. And that's a life lesson. I mean, that's the real world. When your boss calls you in for an evaluation or whatever happens to be. And so I really try to encourage my players. It's beyond the academics. If you will show at CAK, if you'll show those teachers that you are genuine, that you want to be successful, and that you'll give some effort, the CAK faculty, they'll reciprocate that. And some, like I said a few minutes ago, some kids, it takes a little bit more encouragement, a little more frequent text messages or phone calls. Others of them, it's one or two, but it's a goal of mine to make sure that we've got a dialogue with our teachers and as coaches with our players, who they're sitting in class with. And just so that our players, I want them to know that it's more than just football. The only reason they showed up at CAK was to play football. Well, then we've got to kind of retrain that mindset.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach, you'll be proud to know that Susan Sanford just said she's a teacher at CAK. She said we love Travis's checkup spreadsheets. So there you go. Those sheets are making.
That's one of 40.
Yeah.
Miss Stanford was lucky. She got to teach me 3 out of my 4 years of high school. Can you imagine?
Oh, wow.
She didn't retire.
That's
awesome. That's awesome.
I survived, right? James Lowe.
Exactly. I survived, James Lowe.
Well, I'm going to give people a chance to ask any questions in the chat that they want to. So this is a great time to do that. And while you guys are doing that, and I appreciate, we've got Abby Williams. We've got several teachers I can see, parents. other staff members who are helping to answer questions. But while we're doing that, I just said best CAK memory. We're going to end on this note, along with the answer to any questions people might have. Best CAK memory. Go, James.
Yeah. So my favorite coaching memory. My first year being the head coach of the middle school team. You know, we had lost one game in the regular season, had advanced to the championship game, and I will always have the memory of Jake Rogers forcing a fumble on the 1 yard line in overtime to win the game. I mean, that was so special. You know, the opponent and the situation. I've never seen that many people at a middle school game. It felt like it was like a standing room only type game. I mean, it was unbelievable. But every time I walk by Jake Rogers, I always pat him on the back and say, "Hey, buddy, thanks for popping out that ball. That's really special."
That's right.
So that's my favorite coaching memory.
I love it. All right, Coach Seaver, how about you?
Oh man, well, mine's not a coaching memory. So I came to CAK last fall, so not this fall, but the fall before. And I think the thing that really stands out for me and how I knew that this was just a really different place, it was that first Thursday chapel that we had. And I remember going in and not really knowing what to expect. I mean, I had been told like, oh, this place is really great. On Thursdays, you get to go to chapel. It's really cool. And I was like, cool. So we went, and I remember Glenn Davenport getting up there and saying, y'all ready to get your worship on? And then all these kids from the bleachers just rushed to the floor. And, you know, being able to be surrounded by all those kids, watching them actively participate in praise and worship, just with their hearts on fire for the Lord every Thursday, it just blew my mind. I remember getting cold chills all over my body and just being like, this is such a special place. Like, I just never really encountered that before. So for me, that always will stand out as probably my favorite memory. And every Thursday I get to relive that. So it's a really special thing.
Well, that's powerful. That's powerful. All right, Travis.
Probably two of them, and since Hannah and James talked about an athletics one, probably for me the athletics, it was last year with Coach Abby and the girls basketball team. Just to watch them make their playoff run and win games in overtime and just a bunch of nail biters, and you know, I think I had 2 or 3 heart attacks, you know, in the month of February. And just everything with that season, it was so special, and it really, there's so much that overlaps into to what we've talked about tonight with that group. The parents, you go there last basketball season, and the parents, I mean, some of them, we came to CAK in 2016. Some of them have been there since, you know, the beginning, you know, of their kids' academic and athletic careers, and we instantly get, you know, kind of plugged into that family atmosphere. And so watching their playoff run last year was really exciting for me. And to kind of tag on to that, and it kind of goes with what Hannah was saying, just the family atmosphere. So my daughter was a junior last year when they made their great playoff run, and so she's a senior this year. And to go to a girls basketball game and see the senior parents from last year still come to the games, and still come to hang out, and still come to talk, and even the players, it really reminds you that man, for CAK, the athletics, it's just a vehicle, it's an excuse really to get together and fellowship and cheer on each other's children and that sort of thing. And so that was really pretty stinking special, just to watch everything that Abby's done for the couple of years that McKenna was able to play for her, and just, you know, have a big impact on her, you know, athletic career, but also just, you know, building into her and to be a young woman.
Gosh, and you know, it's just like what Hannah was saying. It's about family. It's about community. And even when you leave CAK games, as you know, we hope that you never leave, in the sense of that it's always a part of your heart. You always, our alums know that this is a community and a family for life. You are a warrior for life. And so we really hope that people experience that and see that, just like you're talking about, Travis. it's you don't always get that. You can go through your whole high school life and not feel the community and the connection that so many families feel at CAK. And so we're thankful for that. We did have a question in the chat. I was going to see if I could go back. Can I pull? Yep, here we go. I was going to ask you guys. Okay, Adam Delp asked, Coach, how many games are you going to win, Mo? He wants to know. Yeah.
All of them.
James he's already picked that number, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Every one of them. That's the goal.
That's right. That's right. And then let's see. So, and also we got a second question, Coach Logan. Middle school workouts for football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like Coach Fritz is in the chat. He's
good. Yeah.
He helped out Mr. Blevins, but we'll be starting June 1st at school doing our socially distanced workout. And Mr. Blevins, if you'll get my email right there from Coach Abby, just send me an email and we'll get you added onto the list. Welcome to CAK. Welcome to the family, Mr. Blevins.
There you go. All right. Well, I'm going to close. I want to just say thanks to you guys, all three of you coaches. You literally brought me to tears. And I just want to read this quote because it really sums up the three of you. And really it sums up all of our coaches at CAK. They're handpicked. I truly believe by the Lord and by the people who are in leadership there. And just you three represent a microcosm of a whole coaching staff that carries the heart that you all do. But I want to read this quote by Tom Landry, who had 29 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys. And he said, a coach is someone who tells you what you don't want to hear, who has you see what you don't want to see, so you can be who you always knew you could be. And that's what you guys are doing. That's what you've done. And we just truly appreciate y'all. And boy, I tell you, if anybody's watching this who's thinking about CAK and you're an athlete, I don't know I don't know if we can think of another place to go besides CAK in light of tonight. But if you are interested, I know there are some interested families. We have a wonderful admissions team that is here to serve you. And we've got a couple of those folks in the chat. They will leave a link. We've got some Facebook Lives coming up throughout the summer on other topics, things like our arts, our extracurriculars. We're going to have some on that. That's a whole nother 45 minutes to an hour that we can showcase and share with all of you. But we'd love to have you join us on our virtual tours. We have tomorrow we have a middle school tour from 12:30 to 1:30, and we have a high school tour. I think Travis is going to be a part of that. James, you're going to be a part of that tomorrow. So you guys are going to jump into that. Yeah. So Barb can help with that. Barb Hauser, she's in the chat. She can provide that information. But thanks to everybody for tuning in. We appreciate all the parents, students, and families and coaches. And just want to say God bless to everybody and hope everybody has a great night. So thank y'all. All right.
The Warriors.
That's right.
Thank you.